So hello everyone and welcome to today's Weight Loss Masterclass titled Weight Loss That Has Nothing to Do with Restrictive Eating, Burning Calories or Fighting Cravings. I'm your host, Dr. Angela Kwong, and I'm a GP with a special interest in medically supervised weight loss. If you're just joining us now, say hello in the chat and let me know where you're joining me from. I'm joining from Sydney today, and it's not a very hot summer's day actually. We've got Eunice here in the chat who's helping us with our tech support. We've got Lynette, we've got Jackie, we've got Ange, Andrew, Sue, Louis, Kathy, Peter, a bunch of people who's joining us and more who are still being admitted into the room. And I'd like you to type into the chat as well, who here has been to one of my weight loss masterclasses in the past and is a seasoned attendee? And who here is joining for the first time? So can you type seasoned attendee or can you type in first time? I'm having a look here in the chat. I can see Sue here is joining us from Gippsland, Victoria. Welcome, Sue. We've got welcome to Peter, who's joining from Sydney as well. Welcome to Louis from Melbourne. Hello to Jackie from the beautiful Barossa Valley. I'm a newbie. Welcome, Jackie. Hope you got plenty to learn from. And welcome to Sue, who is a seasoned attendee. Fantastic. Peter, it's his first time. Andrew said joining from Adelaide, have joined some Facebook sessions before. So I hope that we've got plenty of new information that's going to be really, really helpful. Well, let's get started, everyone. Today is the beginning of a new year, and what better way to get started than with a brand new weight loss masterclass? You know, running these masterclasses is a real passion of mine, and I always strive to keep them up to date for you. The fundamentals are the same, of course. So if you have attended one of my masterclasses before, you know that some of the theory is going to be the same, but the cases are going to be brand new. So you're going to get a bird's eye perspective. You're going to learn a few tips and tricks along the way to relate this to your own situation. And if at the end you are thinking about your situation, you want some specific advice, at the end I'm going to point you in the direction of where you can get some more help. How does that sound? Now, during this presentation, if you think of any questions, simply type them into the chat and I will have a look as we go. Now, today you've joined for a reason. For many of you, you're a little bit curious or you might have been stuck for a really, really long time. So let's dedicate this time to yourself. Let's put the phone on silent. That's a reminder to me as well. Let's close the other tabs and let's focus on just you. And just a reminder, this session is being recorded for those who can't make it live. Eunice is putting your microphone on silent, so only I will show up into the recording. And let's get started. Now, to get us first started, I'd like you to think about how many different techniques that you've done when it comes to weight loss. Because as a GP, I often get patients coming to me and saying, I've tried so many different things. I just want to know what is the next best thing that I need to do when it comes to weight loss. And I want you to type into the chat, have you tried one thing? Have you tried two things? How many of these things have you tried? Have you tried 5 or more? So, you know, when you go into the supermarket, have you tried those pre-packaged meals like the U-Foods, for example, that you just zap in the microwave? Or have you tried a very low energy diet like soups or shakes that you just mix the powder with water? Are you someone who skips your meals, like you skip your breakfast in the morning and then you go and have your first meal at lunchtime? Are you someone who counts your calories and uses an app on your phone, for example, to track your intake? Or are you someone who does intermittent fasting, like you sleep overnight, you skip your breakfast, some people even fast up until lunchtime? Or are you someone who seeks the expertise of a dietitian or someone who sees a personal trainer? We've got here OMAD. I'm not quite sure what OMAD stands for. Maybe you'll have to type that one out for me. But tell me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or more, how many of these different things have we tried? Oh, 1 meal a day. I have to add that acronym to my poll for next time, actually. That sounds fantastic. So yeah, how many of these different things have you tried? Because as a GP, I can tell you that by the time that patients come to see me, most patients usually say that they've tried 5 or more. And I'm not here to say that these things don't work, but I'm here to also say that the way that we can kind of think about these techniques is that they really fit into two categories. So they really fit into the eat less and the move more category. And eating less and moving more doesn't necessarily not work, but eating less and move more can sometimes be a little bit tricky if you have untreated medical factors that have not necessarily been addressed. So you can think about it in terms of being one step forward, but two steps back. So let's use a case study as an example to illustrate this point. Let's have a look at case study number 1. And you'll be pleased to know, for the gentlemen in the room, we actually have a male case study for the very first time. One of my male patients said to me, Dr. Angela, I've been a fan of yours for such a long time. I've joined the program and I'm going to take my photos as I go in the program so that you have a male case study to present at your weight loss masterclasses. So he's generously donated his anonymous case study. We got a thumbs up in the audience to watch this case study. Here we go. So patient number 1, we've got a 45-year-old man. His starting weight is 98 kilos. That means he's got a BMI of about 33, and his goal is to get down to 75 kilos. Now, if you have a look at his medical history, it's not that easy for this patient to simply eat less and move more, because physically it's a bit tricky. So he's got frozen shoulder on both sides, and he's also got osteoarthritis in both of his ankles. So to simply tell this guy to go and exercise more, I'll even give you a free personal training session, I'll even give you a free gym membership, it's not that easy when someone has physical limitations. So this patient was actually referred to me by his GP, who said, to be honest, it's not going to be as easy as simply eating less and moving more. It's not going to be as easy as simply giving you weight loss medications. I think that you actually need a multidisciplinary team to sort out your weight issues. He heard about me from his GP, but he also heard about me from his wife, who knew one of the graduates from the program. Now, his goal was to get down to about 75 kilos, because he felt that he had lost his healthy, active routine since having kids, and he just really wanted that for himself once again. Now, if we have a look at his rest of his medical history, his GP had said to him, look, your sugars are almost pre-diabetic, your cholesterol is very borderline, you've got borderline uric acid levels, you've got low vitamin D. Can I get some ideas from the audience? What do you think might be the next best step for this patient? This patient who is aiming for about 23 kilos of weight loss, or the equivalent of about 23% weight loss. Can we have any ideas in the chat? What do you think might be the next best step? And while you're thinking of that, I'll tell you a little bit more about his situation. So in terms of his situation, he has a family history. So in his family, there was diabetes, there was high blood pressure, there was also other family members who had a BMI in the obese range. In terms of his dietary history, he would typically start the day with bread, with ghee, with an egg. He would typically have tea with milk twice a day, but he would skip lunch because he was at the office and he had to work through lunchtime. It was very, very busy for him. For afternoon tea, yes, the tea with milk again. For dinner, he'd have roti, curry with potato, rice, meat and veg. For biscuits, for snack, he would have biscuits from the container at work, and he would typically have about 3 glasses of water. So maybe there's some room for improvement when it comes to his nutrition. For exercise, remember he's got kids at home, so it's not that easy for him to schedule in exercise. And he's also got those frozen shoulders and that arthritis in his ankles. So he's mostly sedentary, and his main form of exercise is that incidental type exercise. He's walking to the office parking, or he's picking up his kids from school. And these are his blood results. So he's got one of his liver markers out of range. He's got quite a high fasting insulin level and a few other things that are a little bit borderline. So I will show you some of the things that we identified as factors contributing to his weight that we helped to manage his weight for him. You know, a lot of people think when it comes to weight loss, you know, let's just put this patient on weight loss medication, or let's just get this patient to do one simple thing. So, you know, patients are often very solutions focused, and they're like, you want to lose 23%? I'll tell you what to do. Just go and fast, or just go and see a bariatric surgeon, or just go and take this injectable weight loss medication. So patients are very solutions focused. But if you really want to have quite sustainable weight management, we often have to look at what are the everyday problems that we can solve. And so looking at this patient's lifestyle, their nutrition, their exercise, their family history, their medical history, there are actually lots of different factors in this patient's case. So these are some of the things that we did for this patient. The first thing that we did was looking at his blood results. He's very insulin resistant. So we as the GPs treated his insulin resistance and also kickstarted his weight loss. The nutritionist, Bo the nutritionist, helped him to read food labels, start his day with high protein breakfast. And for him, he said to me, you know, when I went to go and talk to my GP about Ramadan, it was a really difficult conversation. Ramadan is hard for me every single year because it's such a long time of the day to fast, fasting in terms of no medication, no food, no water. It's really hard because I need to maintain my energy levels during the day. Should I be having my weight loss journey during Ramadan or wait till after Ramadan? And then I gain a lot of weight when I start eating afterwards. So he said, I just have no idea what I should be doing. We also talked to him about doing quick and simple things in order to be maintaining his energy during lunchtime when he would normally be skipping that, or when he was traveling. Our exercise physiologist, the other Bo, talked to him about exercises that he can do around his frozen shoulder and around his ankle osteoarthritis, and talked to him about some myths that he had around spot reduction. And of course, our support team, Eunice and Chat, kept him supported and accountable, especially when he was traveling overseas as well. So as you can see, this is kind of this is what I like to call a multidisciplinary approach to weight loss. It's not really about bouncing from one person to another, which is a limitation that I tended to have when I was practicing in traditional general practice. You know, I see the patient for about 15 minutes in a consultation and I refer them out to someone in another service, and then they come back to me and then I refer them out to another service. This is what I kind of love about a multidisciplinary approach to weight management, which is having leadership as part of a team and having a unified goal for the patient, which is medically supervised weight loss, having an understanding of the patient's medical situation, which is, this is a patient who has frozen shoulder. This is a patient who has ankle osteoarthritis. This is a patient who has ghee as part of their intake, and not enough protein and a lot of carbohydrates in the context of insulin resistance and a borderline uric acid level. So being able to lead and be part of a team is what I love. And I think that it's a really special way of managing weight loss. What do we think so far? Let me know your ideas inside the chat. And what I love about this is it's all kind of done at the same time. It's very powerful. There's no real time wasted going backwards and forwards and bouncing from one opinion to another. There's just a lot of cohesiveness to the plan. Is anyone keen to see patient one's results? Let's have a look, shall we? So here's patient one's results. And some of you might recognize these pictures and recognize this format. This is called a Me360 picture. So Me360 is a free app that you can download on your phone, and all that you do is take a picture front on, side on, from the back with something very close to your body. So either your underwear or your gym outfit. And from that, it's able to estimate your measurements. So as you can see here, this patient number 1 took his photos on the 14th of March and also took them on the 6th of August. And as you can see, the body fat percentage went down from 31.5% down to 23.4%. Chest circumference 109.6 down to 97.5. Waist circumference 101.0 centimeters down to 89.7 centimeters. So it's really helpful in terms of being able to see the shape changes, but more importantly, see that waist circumference come in, because this is very meaningful weight loss in terms of a patient who has this kind of distribution. And also for the patient as well, in order to be able to see that physical change and be able to see how he is now carrying himself these days. This is a more overall change of what we've been able to see in this time. So as you know, he started at 98 and he went down to 80 kilos, which represents about 18% weight loss. The BMI, he started at 33, now he's down to 27, and his waist circumference started in the triple digits. This is using a tape measure technique. This is using a photo technique. Waist circumference 112 down to 89.7, and the bloods have improved too. So we can see one of the transaminases down from 42 down to 30, and about a halving of the fasting insulin level, 23 down to 11. Have we got any questions in the chat so far? I'll just have a quick look. None so far, but feel free to ask any questions as we go along. I know it's really detailed to do in a masterclass, but feel free to ask any question as you go. One of the things that this patient said to me was that I really like feeling like a lighter version of myself. So that's what he said to me. He said, you know, I'm a guy. I don't have to be skinny. I don't have to be bone thin. I just like being a lighter version of myself, and I like knowing what I need to do going forward. And this is what I really love about doing when it comes to medically supervised weight loss, because for me, medically supervised weight loss is not about simply giving out weight loss medications to people, because weight loss medications are helpful, and weight loss medications are great at getting the party started and kick-starting the weight loss process. But of course, with weight loss medications, we know that patients lose weight when you're taking it. But as soon as you take it, many patients do experience weight regain. So it's very, very important when you're taking weight loss medications to treat the problem and to implement changes to your lifestyle at the same time. There always has to be a plan to address the underlying factors that are contributing to your weight gain. So what I consider medically supervised weight loss to be is being under the care of someone who is going to assess your medical situation, look at all the factors contributing to your weight, whether they are medical factors, psychological factors, genetic factors, nutritional factors, physical factors, exercise factors. Yes, we can use a bit of weight loss medication to kickstart the process and get the ball going, but supporting you to implement the necessary change so that you have sustainable lifestyle changes, because being able to control your weight in the long term, even when the medication is stopped, is going to be the most powerful thing. So many of you might be thinking right now, how can you as a non-medical person in the audience determine if you might have factors that contribute to your weight? Well, I've made it easy for you, and I have a tool which you might have seen in the past called What to Do When Nothing Else Has Worked. And this is a simple 10-step questionnaire. So you can grab a piece of paper and write down yes or no to the following 10 questions. And this is going to be an interesting exercise for those of you who have done it before or have seen this in my emails to you. So write down yes or no as we go along. Number 1, are my family members overweight or obese? Yes or no? Number 2, are my family members prone to weight gain or overeating? Number 3, do I have medical conditions that contribute to weight gain? Number 3, am I taking medications that contribute to weight gain? Number 5, do I have a tendency to overeat when I'm stressed? Number 6, do I have any current or past mental health issues? Like, do I have anxiety, depression, trauma, or an eating disorder? Number 7, can I ignore all of the mixed messaging, marketing, and promotion of unhealthy foods? Number 8, can I increase my planned and incidental exercise? Number 9, can I make healthier food choices? And number 10, do my natural hunger signals get overridden? Like, do I just eat for distraction, or do I just overeat because we're all getting together? So have a look and see how many yeses that you have. And now let's have a look at where your answers lie in this questionnaire. So what we can see is these questions that we just answered are color-coded with this pie chart that we have here on the right. And what we can also see is that about half of the factors that contribute to our weight are actually genetic factors. Did anyone realize that about 50% of the factors that contribute to our weight are actually our genetics? So if you answered that you have got overweight family members, or that your family members are also prone to weight gain or overeating, just how much of a contributor that is to your current situation. So genetics are often a big factor when it comes to your weight, but I want you to also see this tiny little thing here. Genetics is very much outside of your control, but it's something that we do need to know about because it can be significant when it's got to do with your family history. Yes, we can't choose our genes. Yes, we can't choose our family members, but we can have an awareness of it. We can look to our genetics. We can look to see, okay, I can't choose my genetics. I can't choose my family members, but do my family members, do I have a family history of heart disease? Do I have a family history of diabetes? Do I have a family history of thyroid disease? And we can use this information to make predictions and have a think about whether other things could be contributing to our weight. When it comes to medical factors, do you have medical conditions that need to be optimized in order to improve your weight? Do you have untreated thyroid disease, or do you have thyroid disease that is not being optimized? Do you have untreated obstructive sleep apnea, or are you taking medications that are actually contributing to weight gain? When it comes to your environment, I can't always change everyone's environment, but I can always help patients to adapt in different ways to their environment, such as, walking further from the parked car, for example, or thinking about, packing different lunches to take to their work. When it comes to psychological factors, sometimes we also think about whether there might be any difficult relationships with food, or whether there might be a past history of trauma. I do meet a lot of people who join the program who tell me about, they realize as they get older that a lot of their relationship with food has got to do with, the way that there was such a long diet culture back in the 80s and back in the 90s. So they say to me, I grew up in a household where my mother was always fixated on food, and I started going to like Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig like as a teenager. I remember going at the age of 18, having all of these low fat products inside our house, and they were probably full of sugar, and it was terrible for me. So a lot of people tell me that it was actually, thinking back on it, it was actually pretty traumatic, and it has actually affected my relationship with food. And I don't really want that to affect my relationship with food, or let it affect the way that I bring up my family these days and the relationship that they have with food. So yeah, depression, anxiety, which is what we normally associate with psychological factors, it's not always that clear cut. Sometimes it's got to do with our past and the way that develops our relationship with food these days. And that, of course, brings us to the last piece of the pie, the behavioral factors. So this is all of the eat less and move more that we're always going on about. You know, every time that we are looking for someone to give us some help with some weight loss and they say to us, oh, you know, it's as easy as eating less and moving more. Go have less calories in and more calories out. That very kind of dismissive attitude that you're doing it wrong. It's so obvious. To be honest, all of that eating less and moving more, all of that calories in and calories out, that is a very small proportion of factors that you have control of. And I wanted to make that very clear to everyone, that I wanted to just show you how much of a small piece of the pie that actually is, and make it also clear that when you take a bird's eye view, there are so many other factors that should be considered when you're making your weight loss plan. Do we have any questions so far, or is that really helpful for people to think about when they're making their weight loss plan? Great. All right. Let's keep going and have another case study, shall we? We've got a brand new female case study for case study number 2. And for this one, we have got a 45-year-old lady. Her starting weight is at 82 kilos, which gives her a BMI of 30. And her goal is to get down to 69 kilos. So this is a picture of her doing her running. And what she's actually wearing is a weighted running vest. And her medical history includes obstructive sleep apnea and hypothyroidism. That's when your thyroid is working at a slower pace. And as you can see, she's taking medications for her thyroid. Her allergies include wheat allergy and also lactose intolerance. Now, her motivation to lose weight was that she was absolutely sick and tired of her CPAP machine. She's like, Angela, I'm 45 and I just want to be free when I sleep at night. I do not want to be attached to a machine at nighttime. So if we have a look at her goal is to achieve about 15% weight loss. And having a think about her current situation in terms of her allergies, in terms of her medical history, in terms of her percentage goal weight, do we have any ideas from the audience as to how we might treat this patient or how we might manage this patient in terms of a weight loss plan? I'll give you a few seconds to type some answers into the chat. And in the meantime, I'll give you some answers. So when she joined Enlighten Me, we did a couple of things. So the first thing that we did was we optimized her thyroid function, because I'll tell you now that it is really hard to lose weight when you don't have optimal thyroid function. It's good enough to have treated thyroid function, but to have optimal thyroid function is really, really good. And patients who do have optimal thyroid function know the difference. If you know, type it in the chat, you know the difference. The other thing that we did was, as you can see, she's a distance runner, and she's someone who was aiming to do a marathon, also training with that weighted vest. And she said to me, like, when I was going running, I just felt like I went through this flu-like period afterwards. So she'd go running, she'd feel on top of the world, and then she would be absolutely exhausted afterwards and really, really tired and need a lot of recovery. And she's like, if I'm going to be doing this marathon, how am I going to balance my energy requirements? Like, how am I going to be getting in enough calories, getting in enough protein, getting in enough carbohydrates in order to do the run, but also be able to lose weight at the same time, but also not get sick each time? So it's a bit of a goal that needs quite a bit of balancing, isn't it? So when she was in the program, we optimized her thyroid function, we optimized her iron, we optimized her protein for her distance running, and we also gave her some meal prep ideas, because it's not that easy when you have an allergy to wheat and to lactose. And I'll show you her results. So these are her results. Her current weight is 57.1 kilos, down from 82 kilos, which represents 30% weight loss. Her current BMI is 21, down from 30, and these are her bloods. So her bloods show iron studies, good. This is a measure of her iron stores, 40 up from 19, more than double, an improvement in her cholesterol, an improvement in her average sugar. And this is one that I'm really proud of. We actually got her thyroid function optimized even despite her coming off her thyroid medication. So that is something that she was really, really happy about, being able to get to her goal weight and lose all that weight and lose a lot of the inflammation that she was carrying, have a happy, healthy thyroid again, and not really even need to take medication and essentially become medication free. So that's something that she was very, very happy about. Oh, and of course, lose the OSA machine, which was absolutely fantastic. That's something that she was happy about. Something that I was really happy about was what she shared with me during her time in the program. So something that you can see here are actually some of the recipes and some of the photos that she took during her time in the program. And this represents implementation. So for me, rather than teaching patients that in order to lose weight, you have to diet, or you have to restrict, or you have to cut, or you have to miss out, I think it's very, very important that we teach patients how to nourish the body well. So how to give the body exactly what it needs in terms of the protein, in terms of the probiotic and prebiotic rich foods to nourish your gut, and in terms of what good quality nutrition is, because that is what you need in terms of long-term weight control. You can really only cut or restrict for so long, and it's always going to be a short-term intervention. But in order to really have a good relationship with food and in order to really thrive, you need to know what to eat and how to make it. So this is something that I'm really proud of, which is that, you know, during her time in the program, she showed up to all the nutrition coaching calls. She gave the recipes a go. She made the protein balls. She made the Vietnamese rice rolls. She tried the mixed veggies. She tried the baking. And oh, here we go. Peter says, love the idea of the non-scale victories. Thank you, Peter. So this is something that I'm really, really proud of. Having a patient who really embraced the implementation and found the joy in making beautiful food for herself, despite her allergies with lactose, despite her allergies with gluten. Now, some patients ask me, you know, where was it that I came up with my idea to have a multidisciplinary approach in supporting patients with weight management? And I actually got the idea when I was looking at a research paper. So I did my SCOPE certification, which is doing obesity management to an international level. And during that time, I was reading this research paper by Marion Franz and her colleagues. It's so old. It's actually a paper from 2007. But what you can see here is that when you give someone advice alone, which is like, I'm going to tell you, go eat less and move more, nothing happens. So 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, nothing really matters. If you give someone just exercise advice, okay, at 6 months' time, you'll lose about 2 kilos and then you'll regain a little bit. If you give someone just diet advice, which is the blue line, by 6 months, they'll lose just over 4 kilos. And if they maintain it, they'll have a little bit of regain. But what I love is this green line. So the green line represents stacking of techniques. And when you stack techniques together, so when you do something like diet plus exercise, you can outperform diet or exercise alone. So diet plus exercise together at 6 months, you can lose about just under 8 kilos. And when you continue that, you can maintain a lot of weight loss. So this is where I got the idea of having a multidisciplinary approach to weight loss, where we treat the medical problems, we change the nutrition, we give people the skills that they need in order to maintain that nutritional change, we exercise with them every week, and we just upskill people. So we're just kind of working alongside them all the time. And these are the average kind of results that my kind of patients get. they're the stars. Some of the patients are off the charts, but I just tried to superimpose it on Mary and Franz's chart. Now, what I'm showing you today, it's not a secret. As you can see, I actually show these same case studies, not just at the Weight Loss Masterclass, but I also recycle it for my colleagues as well when I speak at medical conferences or dinner meetings or at seminars. And the reason why I do that is because I'm only really one GP, and I think that if I share this information with other GPs, it's much more meaningful and we can actually help so many more patients. And this, of course, brings me to Enlighten Me. What exactly is Enlighten Me? Enlighten Me is my medically supervised weight loss program, which is a 16-week medically supervised weight loss program designed for Australians who have really tried many methods and yet they've been stuck trying to lose weight and keep it off. So me and my team of weight loss doctors, that's me, that's Dr. India, she's another female GP with a special interest in medically supervised weight loss. We work with you to investigate and manage the root cause for your weight gain and help you to kickstart your weight loss journey to achieve your goals. As you've seen in the 2 case studies, we also have a nutritionist, that's Bo, and she helps you to figure out what are the specific problems in your particular case that need to be addressed, in addition to upskilling you when it comes to your nutrition. Now we have another Bo in our team, just to make things a little bit confusing. We have exercise physiologist Bo, and she runs a weekly exercise class on Zoom. It's a 21-minute exercise routine, 3 rounds of 7 different exercises. You can do it from your living room, camera on, camera off, whatever you like. You can come with no equipment, and it's really great for people who have gained some weight. They've lost a bit of that core strength. People who are sitting at a computer desk, they've got a very tight neck, shoulders, and upper body. Or you can bring your weights. So you can bring 2 bottles of water, you can bring your dumbbells, and you can turn that into a great strength-based exercise. And of course, as I mentioned, we've got our support team as well. So Eunice, who is supporting us with the Zoom today, and also Charisma as well, which you might have met in our support groups, Medical Weight Loss for Australians and the Enlighten Me products community. So essentially, Enlighten Me is my way of helping people juggle all of that mixed information that's out there and making it easy for you. So I've made the Enlighten Me Content Hub, which is a curated source of weight loss information that helps to really set you up for success and empower you with the necessary knowledge and skills that you need for long-term weight maintenance. Because I want you to think about what it was like when you first learned how to drive a car. You definitely didn't learn how to drive a car from reading it in a book. You definitely didn't do it from one lesson. And even though you could probably Google it, the best way to learn how to drive a car is to actually practice it, let it become a new routine, be accountable to someone, and practice makes perfect. And that's the reason why we have the coaching program. So that's the reason why, in addition to having 6 medical consultations where we see you every 2 to 3 weeks to adjust the medication, treat the problem, kickstart the weight loss process, we are also seeing you every week to put those skills into place. So I see you every week on Wednesday night with Bo for nutrition coaching. And I also see you every week on Tuesdays with Exercise Bo to exercise together. Because I know if I don't exercise together with you, a lot of patients will just walk, and that only uses 50% of the body. We've got here in the comments, Anne says, I love that this works so well because of the simplicity of a system with so much support along the way. Reaching and maintaining your goal is achievable and joyful, and being happy and healthy is the best. I totally agree, Anne. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, for anyone who feels that they want that kind of individualized advice, the next step is to just book in a weight loss breakthrough call. But as you can see in this program, we are a really highly caring, intensive program, and we are a boutique service that can really only look after a small number of new patients each month. So we're not a big business. We are just a small practice that looks after a small number of patients each month. What exactly is the weight loss breakthrough call? It's a complimentary phone call where you'll speak with me and I'll assess you for Enlighten Me. I'll ask you some questions about your previous weight loss attempts and your medical history. If you're a good candidate for Enlighten Me, I'll let you know. You'll receive an invitation to join. And of course, there's no obligation. And for those of you who are watching on the replay, you're also welcome to book the call. I do only have a handful of spots available each week. So as soon as you do want to book the call, it's best to book as soon as possible. I'm just going to put the link in the chat now, and the link is pages.drangelakwong.com/breakthrough call. And essentially, who is this call for? It is ideally for patients like those in the case studies where you've tried a couple of different strategies and you're a bit stuck. You might suspect that you do have a medical root cause that hasn't quite been addressed yet, and you need that to get your weight under control. You're someone who is quite coachable. So you're someone who's willing to learn. You're someone who's happy to implement the strategies that we teach you. You're able to put aside about an hour each week to do the learning, to do the training, or if you can't come live, you're someone who is willing to watch the replays to put that into a routine. You're also someone who understands that we're not a prescription only service. There are heaps of, convenient services and prescription only services if you are someone who just wanted a script for a weight loss medication, but we're not that kind of service. We're really only looking to care for patients who need us. So patients who are looking to make long-term changes in their lives and they're not really looking for that quick fix. You're someone who really understands the value of being under the care of a multidisciplinary team to work together to get the best care. It's not about trying one thing, then trying another, or just having different services under one roof where you refer to each other. It's about really being under the care of a close-knit, cohesive team. And you're really looking for that care and that professional support and that accountability. So that concludes our weight loss masterclass, our very first weight loss masterclass for January of 2025. Thank you so much for your time and participation. I hope that today's presentation has been insightful and enlightening. Do keep in touch with me in the Medical Weight Loss for Australians Facebook group. And for those of you who have booked in a weight loss breakthrough call, I'll speak with you soon. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Jackie. Jackie says, thank you, great session. Andrew says, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for coming, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.